Hey guys, hang in there, just getting set up. Facebook Live is not behaving. Hang in there, we're trying to get everything set up here. Facebook is not behaving tonight. Let's see if we can go on Facebook Live. Just trying to check to see if this stuff is set up, folks. Oh, my glasses are crooked. I look like a drunk. There we go. Hey, everybody. Just getting this stuff live. Hang in there. If you have any questions before we start, just post them up in the side there. Cool. We're live. Let's get this going. Turn down my volume. Cool, Nancy. How's it going? 3 days in. Are you okay? Beautiful. I think everybody is back to work now officially. There are 2 states which are kind of flaky, which is Pennsylvania and California. Some areas are open, some are not. Let's wish them all the best to go live on a regular basis. I think Michigan opened, New Jersey opened, and New York opened. I think they were the last holdouts aside from Pennsylvania and California, which are open officially, but in some counties they are not. Hey, everybody on Facebook Live. Glad to see you in here tonight. We're just waiting for Steve Gomez and Andrew to jump on. Going to be an exciting evening. Steve just said he is struggling to connect. Let's hope he gets on here. Here he comes. Hey, Steve. You gotta unmute yourself, buddy.
Hello,
There
hello.
you go. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Yay! Man, this is the 6th webinar or live I've been on today, man. So it is. I'm like, ah!
My coaching calls. I've been following you.
Man, it is a whole nother world. I'm telling you. How you doing?
Hey, Stephen.
Hey. How are you?
Andrew is still the wandering tribe in the desert.
Absolutely.
I see that. Well, don't be in a conundrum. Come back to us there. Don't be in a conundrum.
That's funny.
Wait. I don't know if it'll black it out, but oh yeah, it's black. I have hard seltzer and it says truly on it.
Yeah, I love it. So to both of you, a happy Father's Day, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you both had a great day. I know Nancy and I are still working on having our first. We don't have one yet, but one day you guys will have me on here and hopefully say the same thing back to me.
Do a Father's
And
Day
I hope
special.
you guys had a great Father's Day.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Yes. Hey,
Have your own tribe.
We are working at it hard.
Which is always a good thing.
Yes. How was your Father's Day, Andrew?
Lonely.
Oh, well, you're in the city still.
It's my kid's son and his wife are in LA. So we spoke. That's great, but that was it.
And you were at sushi, I saw on your feed?
No, so that was actually the day before, Steve. So it was actually turned out to stupid me because I don't set boundaries. I was talking to clients all day until dinner time, and I said to my wife, I said, you know what? I'm shutting it down, and let's go over to Whole Foods, and I bought some filet mignon and lobster, and we grilled. So it was pretty good stuff.
Perfect. That is
It would have been cheaper to go out, though. I got to tell you, Whole Foods, oh my God. So for 4 people, it was my wife and I, and my daughter and her fiance, and it was $180 at Whole Foods just for one meal. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. Well, that was kind of the reaction I had when I saw the register go. And you don't want to do one of those, well, you know what, maybe maybe I'll go somewhere else. Right? It's like, okay, you got me.
What?
I don't know, man. For $180, you probably could have had 5 1.5-pound lobster tails at a nice restaurant.
We go. So there's a little local place, but lately, that because New Jersey is not open yet, except for takeout type stuff. Lately, that we've been ordering stuff, and you know, we have our favorites, and then for 4 people, it costs us like $60 for our little places without drinks, right? So, but I got sick of it because it's always, you know, the meal's cold, it's this, it's that. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to grill. And my mistake, I could have went out to eat 3 or 4 times, but whatever.
That's amazing.
It turned out delicious though. So.
Thank you for promoting my my second panel I did on the equality conversation today.
Yeah, so tell me how that went today, because basically we as a group were called racist today, which I did not appreciate at all. And I reposted your video. Yes, it's because people come from a point of wanting to argue instead of being open to a constructive dialogue. And Andrew and I had this conversation earlier. And that's a shame. It's a shame because in this group, we're about business and helping everybody grow. And I'll just before we get started, for everybody that's in here now, then I'll take it down. And it's not offensive, but I want to know everybody to know where I come from. So Andrew, you'll appreciate this and you'll probably laugh at it. Hold on, let me get my, so there we go. And I can't get this off of here. Here we go. So this is the saying we got when we entered the Marine Corps. Okay? Everybody see that?
Oh my
because
goodness.
It's so true, and it is so to the point. Until you were a team, you were worthless as an individual. And that's what they taught us, no matter what color you are. We were all dark green, light green. We were a shade of green. There was no black, white bigotry. We were all worthless until we learned to become a team. And at that point, the guy in the foxhole, it doesn't matter what color they are. We all bleed the same. And that's what it came down to. And I really do not appreciate being called a racist or a bigot on my board that I am helping people with to help their business. And Andrew feels the same, I'm sure. And I'm sure you do as a coach, Steve, because that's why I posted that webinar today. I think it's important to have this conversation without attitudes.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that that's occurring. Obviously, when you create a forum, that's even it's a private group you have to join. It's a public forum where there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people. You're going to get different viewpoints and different opinions. You're also going to get people that believe and assert, which is their right, how they think other people should act and respond. And I believe that it's important to hear those opinions. But if somebody doesn't happen to agree with a course of action that they believe you should be taking, to just label them, I don't necessarily espouse or agree with that. When I hosted my first panel discussion on equality, I had somebody challenge me on it and saying, well, what are you going to do for the African American community? And one of my friends who was on basically was saying this is exactly what he's doing. He's using his platform to create education, to create awareness, to share history, to share stories. And I had 4 of my really good friends who are African American that were on that panel. One couldn't get on because his sound wasn't working, but I got him on today. But 2 were from the industry. One was Roderick Samuels, who I had the honor of marrying, he and his wife. I was the officiant for their wedding, and we did it on the Naha stage of all places, which was really fun. He sprang to my defense, and he said, look, just because Steve is Caucasian, it doesn't mean that he doesn't care any more or any less. And he's literally using his professional platform to forward a progressive conversation to support African Americans. And I appreciated him standing up for me in that. And I'm not the type that I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. If I can use my platform to support people, I'm going to use my platform to support people. And I'm willing to wade right in and take whatever comes my way of it. So today's conversation was really awesome. I had one guy from the industry, John Mosley, and you guys need to bring him on if you don't know John. He is awesome. He was a curriculum writer for Paul Mitchell. He's a brand ambassador for their brand Maverick. He launched his own company called Popular Nobody, which is about equality, and it's not about like, you know, using the credibility of other brands or celebrities to make yourself look good. And then he started a foundation that is about helping people get back to barber school, people get back into any creative endeavor they want. And he's doing something really great with his platform. I had the honor of sitting on an advisory board with a friend of mine, Ken Morris, who was on with me today. And he is a direct descendant of Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington. And he created he founded the Frederick Douglass Family Initiatives. And they're raising money and building curriculum going into grade schools. And right now they're touching 6.2 million students nationwide, teaching them about exploitation, oppression, and modern day slavery, and teaching them not only what to look for to fight and combat it, but teaching them how to appreciate human beings meritoriously and for who we are, not by the color of our skin. I think he's holding up
That's a perfect example of what I just had as my background. And,
yes.
You know, we all go through adversity. Well, maybe not all of us, and I shouldn't say all of us because some people don't go through adversity.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I've had probably one of the worst childhoods imaginable, probably worse than most people have had. But does that characterize who I am? No. It only characterizes you if that's what you want to mold yourself as. If you want to step up and above who you were as a child, that's your choice. If you want to cry about who you were as a child, that's your choice also. And both of them are a choice. Me, I choose to always exceed better than I was yesterday. And that's how, you know, the mentality of Salon Owner Mastermind, Beauty Business Reset, that's what we're trying to get through to people. Pick yourself up, rise above. Rise above the bigotry, rise above what you don't want to be, all those other things. And that's what it's all about. So we could go on for hours about this. And
you know, I'll tell you this. I think that, you know, you guys have created a platform, and whenever you put your face and your voice out there nationally like this within any industry, you know, the highest nail gets hit the hardest. And it's just a great expression, and it's so true. And you know, it's easy for people to point a finger or, you know, and look, you're going to have people that perceive you to be a certain way. And, you know, some will, some won't. So what next? That old adage, right? You know, we just got to continue to use our platform to serve. You know, I want to use my platform within that conversation to enlighten myself and enlighten others. I had a friend of mine on who I've known for 18 years, and he's a professor of history. He's got a doctorate in African diaspora history, specializing in the slave resistance in the Caribbean and race in the Americas. And I mean, he was, if you go back and listen to him talk, he was just brilliantly articulating what racism is, and that racism really had groundings in racism that we know in our country had groundings in Europe, and that it was a amalgamation of, and I'm not saying it as good or as articulate as him, but it was an amalgamation of people taking the physical look and appearance of somebody and tying it onto their own moral compass of what they thought it should or shouldn't be. You know, and it's really interesting when you get to the root of where these things come from and how they have permeated and how deeply entrenched they are. I'm just glad that these conversations are being had. I think it's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's
here's the thing.
true.
We're three white guys talking about this, right?
Yep.
Your last name's Gomez. Okay.
Yep.
My last name's Hull. I'm as Irish as a freaking leprechaun. Okay. Andrew's Jewish. Now, all three of those backgrounds have been persecuted in their own way. Okay.
Absolutely.
Most people don't know this, but the Irish were slaves prior to slaves being brought over here.
Mm-hmm.
They called it servitude, which was really slavery. And they also called it, I'm trying to think of the wording that they called it. I have an article on it, but where they pushed 500,000 Irish people into the islands, saying they were bad people because they were Irish, right? And they got pushed into slave colonies and everything else. The Jews, we all know, have been persecuted. Hispanic people have been persecuted. There's persecution through almost every race, okay? So if we want to have a topic, the topic should be about rising above this, I can think of a better term, but ignorance.
Yes.
We have to be human again, and we have to rise above it. And our group and this group was formed to help everybody build a better business, be a better human being and a better business owner. And that's what it's all about.
I've been using these two panels I've done, and I've got more to come, but I've been using them to attack racial inequality in the workplace, because I think the battle of inequality is on many fronts. Obviously, in the news, it's directly related to police brutality right now. As well, it should be. There needs to be systemic change there, undoubtedly. I wanted to use my own platform to say, okay, let's talk about it in the guise of the workplace. So I had each of my friends who were on share their experiences of navigating their careers and the things that they had to work extra hard at for the color of their skin. So I think utilizing platforms like this to create consciousness and awareness is the first step. To be able to understand and learn and seek to better our own value system and our own level of beliefs based on what we're learning from the experience of other people that we couldn't possibly understand before, if not for them sharing, and I think you guys do that well. You've brought on such a wide variety of educators and, under the guise of running a better business. And I think all of us as business owners can be more mindful of how we can make decisions that are more meritoriously driven, not stereotypically driven. I think that's absolutely critical.
Absolutely. The conversation has to be, how can we move forward?
Yes.
And we get stuck too many times when the accusations come flying.
Correct.
And
correct. Well,
that creates nothing but animosity and
correct.
a divide.
So we get stuck in the past. As business owners, we get stuck in the past of what happened to us prior. Humans are inherent to that. What happened to me before, instead of thinking what is going on right now at the present moment and how can I make myself better in the present moment to get to my goal in the future moment. And that's what it's all about, right? That's really, and with that, let's move on to our topic of this evening.
Perfect. So I'll just say this, Derek. I'll say, hey, everybody, if you want to catch a really great panel discussion, go to my Facebook page. It's Stephen J. Gomez, Stephen J. Gomez. I just hosted it a few hours ago. You can watch it. It's called Equality of Conversation. I mean, to hear from a direct descendant of Frederick Douglass, who's using that legacy to create change in the world and bring education, and from a professor of African-American history, I think if you're listening to people, those are two pretty good qualified people, as well as my friend Aaron Tillman and my friend John Mosley. It was a great panel. So very enlightening, great information. I know we're here tonight to dig into something that all three of us in our discussions felt was very vital and very important to get into. So I'm ready to rock when you guys are.
And by the way, I encourage everyone to go to listen to that panel on Steve's Facebook page.
And I just shared it.
It's important.
I just shared it.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, by all means. So welcome everybody to tonight's BBR episode 53. Wow, can you believe 53 episodes?
53.
Steve? Pretty wild, right?
That's amazing.
Got a lot of great people in here tonight. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions as this goes on, just make sure you post them up either in Facebook Live or in the Zoom chat box here. And we're going to get started. We have the pleasure of having my good friend Steve on tonight and Andrew. We're going to talk about what things look like right now, right? What do they look like? I'm so happy to say welcome back New Jersey and New York today. Welcome to the game again, right? We have two states out there still. We have so we have Pennsylvania in some areas, and we have California in some areas with limited services. But God bless you, and I hope that you're back to work ASAP. I got to tell you, just as a side note, had a coaching call with a member today who had to cancel because she got hit with the double whammy. Thank God she was prepared for it. She had an employee that had COVID. That's just what we don't want to see. Just getting back to work, and you got to shut your salon down to clean it and have all your employees tested.
It's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. It really is.
Let's say a prayer for those owners who have to shut down twice. And if you prepared properly, you'll get through it quickly. If you haven't, then you better split your shifts and listen to the lessons we had.
Amen.
Exactly.
I just want to say, Patty.
Back, everybody. Welcome back. Exciting stuff.
Thank you. And welcome to Patty. Patty Need just wrote, killed it in New Jersey today. Love hearing that, Patty. Really, really happy to hear that.
Great.
I think the last time I saw you, Patty, was in your salon with you maybe 3 days before the shutdown when I was there to work with you and the team. And so I'm just happy to see that you're back up and running, Rockstar. Can't wait to hear about the numbers, which I'm going to want you to send. So just can't wait to hear and see how all that went for you, Patty. Really, really happy. And where the heck is James Alba? How can we do this without,
oh my goodness,
I die on the highway? Where's he at,
Angela's yelling at him, James, we got to do this. We got to do that. Come on, let's get this place running.
Well, here's the James. There you go.
James here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. James here's
to the real conundrum going on.
He may still be working at the place.
I'm sure he is. So,
So
for everybody that's where is James, they opened today. New Jersey just went live today, and New York also. So a lot of our guests are wrapped up in their first day today.
Yes, James. So if you want to know where James is, you can just quickly hang up here and call his salon. Let's flood him with phone calls.
I love it. Well, we should do like he does to Iva all the time, right? Give his email out.
Yeah, exactly. Give James his salon phone number out so he can really do some meaningful work today. Okay, let's do that. But anyways, I'm glad that you guys invited me back. I reached out to you and I actively am engaged in coaching over 20 businesses a month, and I get to kind of see a wide swath of what's going on out there because of that. And I coach salons all over the United States. And in these calls with businesses that have already been open, I've been seeing a lot of great breakthroughs happen. Some unique and interesting challenges go on. That really led me to want to craft this conversation today, which is really about care, comfort, compassion, and culture. There's a myriad of complexities that we face to run a business at any given day. When you then put on top of it what we're dealing with now, coming back out of the shutdown and living in this COVID world that we're in, and having to navigate our world in that capacity, it adds a lot more complexities on top, a lot more stresses on top, and a lot more challenges on top. So really the goal today, guys, is to have a very conscious and open dialogue around how to maintain balance and health and well-being throughout this road that lies ahead. For all of you that have been open, for those of you that are just opening. So I'm going to attack it on a few fronts. One, to my salon owners out there, just really talking about where you should be spending your time, what you should be focusing on. Also, important things to analyze. And then I have a list of steps when it comes to having and creating more balance and ideas that I want to give to you guys. And we thought, the three of us thought, that it shouldn't just, this ideation is not just going to come from us. As we're bringing ideas, especially when we talk about balance, as we bring ideas, we would love for you to type in your ideas or things that you are doing to help create a more balanced approach to running the business. What really led to this is hearing from multiple clients that not only are they dealing with the stresses of being uncomfortable wearing a mask for hours on end and all the extra work that goes into cleaning in between clients, and it's just longer days. So it's more physically demanding. It's physically more stressful to run the business now. And deal with not being able to see as many customers, having such a big demand. There's also dealing with the heaviness that your customers are bringing to you. And this is a natural occurrence that is going to happen. Why is that? Because we may be in our industry the only people besides their doctors who are licensed to place our hands on them. We create such a safe and trusting bond and relationship with our customers that they feel comfortable telling us everything about what's going on in their world on a normal basis, let alone coming back in and having dealt with not being in the salon for 90 to 100 days. While I'm sure you're getting a ton of excited customers, I'm sure in the natural discourse of conversation with them, you're more than likely hearing about the struggles that either they or a family member are facing financially, that somebody might have been laid off or struggling to get on unemployment. You may be hearing about clients that either themselves or a family member that's going through divorce from this. You might be hearing from loved ones who are dealing with depression, anxiety issues, even suicides that have been happening. There's just a myriad of things that we as a world are facing right now. And then obviously there we are, having to be precise, having to be perfect, having to do that, focus on that color correction, wearing a mask, worried about all the new guidelines, and we're hearing some of these types of things. It's heavy. We're used to carrying a lot anyways, but we have to be able to acknowledge that these conversations are being had, and that because they trust us so much, they're willing to share what's going on in their world at that level. And while we are there to comfort people, it is a lot to take on all the time, and we have to be cognizant of it, not assume that it's not happening, and we need to create steps to bring that awareness to our business and to create healthy ways that we can help redirect all that energy that we're taking in, so we're not holding it, but that we're working through it. So I've got a ton of ideas for you. If any of you have had some of those types of conversations that I just shared, where customers have been sharing about financial issues, challenges, family members fighting anxiety, depression, if they're coming in talking about divorces and those types of things, just type in a yes so I know that some of you are getting what I'm saying and that you've been hearing some of those things. Because literally, I haven't had a salon that I coach that has not been hearing some of those things. One of my clients that I coach, you're
getting a ton of yeses. If you don't mind, as we do this tonight, let's keep it casual, and I'll kind of jump in with, because we've already got a lot of dialogue, and go through like a little bit at a time.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you.
Right? So, and I get this too, and I'm sure Andrew's getting it too, because it's a common thing. How do I deal with it? Well, how do you deal with it? You have to direct the conversation, and you're very good at this, Steve, and by asking questions, right? And the question should be, well, redirect it. I acknowledge that, but what was the best thing that happened through this? Did you get to spend time with your family? Something like that. Try and redirect your clients. And Steve, you want to speak to that because you're really good at it. So
thank you. It's certainly something that it's important. It's important to let people share what's there for them and to be heard. If the conversation does tend to go a little bit too long or in a very uncomfortable depth, then you want to redirect. Use your best judgment on that. I think all of us are in this industry. We're intuitive about the needs of people because we're dealing with humans and touching them and serving them. We have to listen on so many different fronts, not only to what they're saying verbally, but also their physiological responses, their facial expressions, the tonality in their voice. So just dial in to what they're sharing and seek to understand and empathize with it. And I would say the first place to go would be say, I appreciate and respect that you trust me enough to share this with you. Obviously, it's been a challenging time. What else do you want to share about that? So give them a chance to share anything else that's there for them that they need to get out. And then I would say redirecting it back to, and has there been any benefit to being sequestered at home for a couple of months? Was there anything that you look back and you got out of that? I think a lot of people have had I think I've heard across the board how people appreciated sitting down with their families every night for dinner, and how that was just not going on at all. It was almost non-existent in a nuclear household where everybody's kind of off doing their own thing. The kids are at practice, the dad gets off of work, the mom's still working, this or that. Family dinners were a couple times a week, not every night. So, seeking to understand and have them share those things. Derek, I couldn't agree more with you.
Andrew, you're muted right now, but I want you to speak to this specifically because one of our coaching sessions that we spoke about is, sit down as a family and have a dialogue at the dinner table. Because how often has that happened? Like, I know from my own personal self, I barely even ate dinner with my family until we made it a regular routine and we opened up a dialogue during that time to put the rest of the world out, right? And this has been a perfect time for that. And stepping back a second, don't let your clients' dialogue become your black hole. Okay.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I think right now, to Steve's point, this takes a tremendous amount of, it's required up to this point and will continue to require a tremendous amount of our energy. When I say our, the owner's energy. And so really important is to preserve as best you can your energy. Steve, I'm sure you have a number of things you can do. I was just thinking that if you're a what we'll call a working owner, and all owners work, but working behind the chair owner, you may want to look at how you're booking clients, and you may want to give yourself time, recovery time, literally between each client. And what that recovery time would look like would be some hydration and some stretching and just maybe a little bit of breathing, meditation, 3, 4, 5 minutes so that you can recover and get your energy back. Because this is extremely stressful and we're firing on all 8, 12 cylinders, and we need this. That's where it goes into health. That's where it goes into support what you were talking about, sitting down at your family dinner and asking people questions and listening and encouraging them to express and raising the energy there, getting people enthused and bringing them on board to your dream, because you need them. You need your family to do that. You need your loved ones. You need the important people in your life. So there's little systems that you can put in place.
And they are part of, we'll call it that wall, right? You need a wall between your psyche and the client's psyche. You have to have the mental fortitude to deal with this right now. Steve, you can speak to some maybe, I don't want to call them tricks, techniques on how to do this, but it is so important right now that you do not let the psyche of your clients get into your life. It's going to be stressful enough right now. And I see a couple comments coming through right now of people saying they cried for the first 2 weeks with all this heaviness. Don't let the heaviness invade your mind. Okay. Now I'm saying that, you're probably saying, yeah, that's so easy to say. And it's not easy to say, because myself as a coach, I coach a lot of salons. And you know what? Their psyche comes through to me every day. And at some point I have to turn it off. And my wife says, turn it off. Okay. You have to be able to turn it off. It's not about, so there's two words, sympathy and empathy. Empathy is one thing, sympathy is another. Sympathy is when you get into their world. Empathy is when you realize what their world is and have a dialogue over that and can get out of there. And it's really important. It's almost like that Robin Williams movie where he goes to hell to get his wife back, right? You gotta keep that. What was that? The name of that movie, Andrew? You know which one I'm talking about? It's one of my favorite movies ever, and I can't think of the name of it. His wife dies, and he dies and goes to hell to get her back. But if he puts his mind in her suicide, that's where he'll stay. So we have to have that same fortitude to keep our mind out of it, yet in it. And that's a weird conversation, but it's an important conversation that I think we need to have today.
You know, Derek, I'll actually add to what you're saying and take empathy one step further. Sympathizing with where our customers are at, if they're sharing challenging experiences that they've faced, is part one. The best way to empathize, I've always related to empathy. I kind of say it like this. My job and my commitment as a coach is not to sympathize with you, not just to put the arm around the shoulder and say it's going to be okay. That's sympathy. The job of a coach and a leader is to empathize, to put the arm around the shoulder and say it's going to be okay, while putting a foot on the ass to get them doing something different about it. Mm-hmm. So to me, in the situation where, you know, a great way to empathize with your customer is to repeat back what you heard and sympathize with how they feel and ask them, how can I, in this service today, help you alleviate some of that just a little bit more? Because that is within my power. It is within my power to say, you know what, you're going to get an extra 5 minutes on that scalp massage. You know, that's within my power to do. You know, how, you know, and just saying, what else can I do today to relax you and to help you shift out of that? How can the salon be a place where you leave a little bit more of this behind for you? That's empathizing powerfully with your customers. I want to speak to a comment that Franco made. Franco, I would say that you're not an anomaly at all, and I love what you wrote. He's been asking all of his clients, what's the best thing that has happened to you on this shutdown? And that leads the conversation to be positive. That is brilliant. That is exactly what we all could be doing to be in control.
That's the redirect we talked about, right? So when they are in their own little black hole, bring them. It's your job. Listen, your job, and we all know this as a stylist, is not just to do hair. I hate to say it, but you're more of a psychologist than a psychologist they go to. So bring them out of that black hole and step it up by that exact statement that Franco made and you made, Steve.
Yes.
I want to comment on one thing Gail said. She said, I was so excited to see everyone that people rose up. I was so excited to see everyone. The clients rose to my positivity. I love that.
I love that too. Bella, I'm seeing your comments on there, and if you're willing to share, what are some of the things that you need support with? I'm sure anything that any of the three of us can share to support you will only support everybody else who's here, because we are a community and we're all in this together. And as we can see, even in this discussion, seeing some of these comments, we have the dichotomy of some people having a real empowered reentry and others having a real struggle, which is exactly why we wanted to have this discussion tonight on multiple fronts. One, again, which is where we're at right now, the psychology of dealing with some of these challenging psychological things we're hearing from our customers. And then two, how do we really be responsible for our energy and create more balance? So we're going to go there in a little while, but Bella, we're definitely here to support, and I'd love to know, how we can help. Hopefully some of these ideas, some of the stuff that Franco mentioned is a great way for you to redirect. But is the issue more geared towards what you're getting from clients, or is it more what you're dealing with physically and the amount of hours and the demand? How can we help? And I know what you wrote there, I'll be okay, I'm working on the kinks, and I know you are. But if there's anything specific, you have people here, I've coached over 450 businesses, and I give a shit at a high level, and I want to help humanity, and I want to help our industry. So if there's anything that you're facing specifically, even if you give me a little nugget, I'm going to chew on it and run with it right now in your support.
Beautiful. Steve, Bella, and we know Bella's Bella's been with us since the beginning. I would say one of the toughest people I know. And that's probably why she said, I'll be okay. It's okay, Bella, to be vulnerable and say that this is not okay and ask for help, because that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
We also have on Facebook Live, and this is a very important comment. It says the owner sets the tone for the energy of the salon. 100%. We've had this leadership conversation the whole time. A leader doesn't lead by bossing. They lead by setting an example. And if that example is vulnerability and strength at the same time, that's important if that's the message you want to get through, right? But these things we're talking about, the owner should be asking these same questions of the staff and the clients, saying, that's great. We acknowledge, remember, always when somebody has a problem, always acknowledge their problem. Yes, I acknowledge your problem. But what was the best thing that happened to you? Okay, now that's a simple thing, and you'll turn their mindset in 2 seconds flat just by saying that.
Amen to that. Hey, Sue Burkholder, I can't wait for you to be open one day. I've had the honor of coaching Sue for over 13 years now, and I can't wait to actually get back on a call with you, Sue, and keep rocking that amazing business that you have. If any of you ever need to visit a well-run, well-oiled organization, or need to talk to an owner who is brass tacks, this is how it's going to go, and who fights and stands for her culture. One of the best businesses I have ever coached is Salon Artif and Sue Burkholder. So I just want to give a shout out to my amazing friend Sue, and for the business that she runs and that I've had the honor to work with for well over a decade now. That's for sure.
Bravo, Sue. Bravo.
I created a lounge with step-by-step posters on how to do box breathing to help with the anxiety that my stylists are dealing with. Patty O'Brien, you are now on to the other part of this conversation that I wanted to get into, and that's being proactive and taking steps so we can redirect the energy into a different way. We can let go of the energy that we're taking in. We can be responsible for the emotional toll of all the extra hours and the masks and the PPEs and having to remember all the guidelines and oh my goodness, I thought I had a month's worth of color and now I've used it in 5 days. Now what do I do? Situations that we're facing out there. there's just a lot more stress on top of it. I've also had a salon. I've had 2 salons so far that have had customers complain to their state boards and to the health inspectors on them for having the mask down below the nose, the other for taking a face shield up and taking a mask off for literally a second and then putting it back on. So, that's another stress. Some customers are not going to want to follow any of the rules, and then others are going to hold you to a high level of accountability. The one owner that I dealt with had to have the health inspector come and watch them for the day. Imagine that level of stress. These things are real. They're happening. They're not happening a lot, but there's the potential exists. So we have to empower ourselves based on what we value and based on who we are and what we believe, and we must get everybody on that same page. And that's the first place to start. One of the recommendations I'm going to make, and you guys, I got a whole list of them right here. But one of the recommendations that I'm going to make is that as an owner, you should be, once you're open, you should be picking minimally 2 to 3 people a day that you make it a point to pull aside and check in and see how they're doing, and keep it going all throughout the week. If you're already doing team huddles, boy, how important they're going to continue to be. If you're not doing team huddles, you need to implement team huddles. And the thing about team huddles in this era, in this COVID era, is not just to share updates on what's going on, but giving people a place to vent and check in on how they're doing. To just take a deep breath in and let it out.
So Steve,
let people be heard and gotten.
Steve, that opens a dialogue to what we talked about the other night, right? So aside from, we could go back to why is the beauty business reset here? Okay, so the beauty business reset was so you could reset your business. Now is the most important time for all the techniques that have been taught from day one through to tonight to implement. One of those is team huddles, so important. Another one's leadership, right? Because we've been talking about leadership all along, but systems and things like that are also important. If you're not taking all these lessons and reinforcing them right now for your team, you're missing the opportunity of probably 10 salon lifetimes. I don't know when this will ever happen again. Now, I look at the better side of what's happened to all of us, right? We've had this time to fix all these things. And if you haven't taken that time, then shame on you. If you have, now, God bless you, because you can really, really have a culture that stands above all others right now by having those dialogues, by having those huddles, by setting systems, no matter what systems they are. But safety protocols, all these other things that we're dealing with right now, they're just a system. Okay, this too shall pass. But in the future, these core values that you're setting now in this once in a lifetime opportunity as a business owner, if you're missing out on them, I just want to grab you and shake you right now.
I love it. Here's the thing, you guys, I couldn't agree more. Where you spend your time and how you spend your time as a business owner is always paramount of paramount importance. Now more than ever, it's vital. And you just have to stop the busyness, everybody. If you've already booked yourself solid, and every waking moment as an owner, if you're a working owner, like Andrew was talking about, you're behind the chair in a treatment room, you've missed the whole point. And you're missing a huge mark. And you have to recalibrate and re-engage immediately, because your business and how it operates has never had to operate the way it has to now. And if all you're doing is going in and being busy, because you want to get in all the people and you're feeling the emotional pull of, can you get me in, can you get me in, can you get me in? Then you're being a busy hairdresser in your business. You're not being an owner leading and guiding your business at the level that you need to. Your business is operating differently. There's new guidelines that everybody needs to be remembering. There's the energy, the nervousness, the excitement of everything that the customers are bringing to you. So if you are not carving out time in your day to be accessible and to observe and watch, then you are getting right back into a trap, and you're allowing your business to run you. And what you're going to find is that you are going to run yourself to exhaustion by doing that. So I couldn't urge you enough to break that cycle and to ensure that you are giving yourself a few hours a day. And if your argument to me is, I have way too many clients trying to get in, the demand is too big, they've been waiting for 90 days, okay? You control your schedule. If you need to work a few hours more so that you get a couple of hours in your day to be accessible and to watch and guide and coach, then so be it. Go that extra mile. But do not forsake giving your business the time and the attention it needs so that you can just be in there grinding through a shift, doing nothing but clients, and then scrambling at night to do everything else you have to get to. That's not leading. That's being led by. And who are you being led by? The situation and your customers.
I think
you're not leading your business. You have to create that shift.
Just to Steve's point,
Go ahead,
and that's
because then I have a comment.
beautifully said. Now is the time where you have to leverage your leadership. Okay? You really have, and to leverage your leadership, you need to give it some time. Without the time, it doesn't work. The value of your time, and Steve and Derek can break this down for you, the value of your time doing a single client is far less than the value of your time being with your team, coaching them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of us could quantify and show you how that works, but you have to believe it, that the highest leadership, ownership is the highest leverage time. And the more time you give to that, the more successful and profitable your business will be and become.
100.
Period.
100%.
And I'm not making that up. That's the truth. That's small
We can show
business
them in the
truth.
numbers. We can show them
And
in
it's
the numbers.
really hard. And I acknowledge everyone and what Steve is saying. It's not so easy to just pivot here. It's not so easy. It's hard. We're in a groove, and we also equate, another head, and it's another dollar, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But now is the time and we have the time to sit back, not get sucked in to the moment, not get sucked into that moment, but to rise above a little bit and to look down and see what's really happening. A guy like Steve, a guy like Derek can really help you do that through the numbers, through all sorts of other things. But it all starts here.
It does. And, I think
the 1,000-foot view, right, Steve? So
Yes.
sometimes we are here, right, in this little tiny bubble of what's going on in our reaction and right now. But really, as an owner, you need to be here above in that 10,000-foot view that says, this is what's going on in my business. And
Correct.
I need to set at least an hour or two a day in my schedule, whether I'm booked 12 hours a day, I don't care. Book out a slot that says business haircut, business this, whatever you want to call it. But that is your time to concentrate on your business. That 1 hour slot will make you more money as a business owner than cutting somebody's hair or doing a color or a balayage or whatever. I promise you, I swear to you, it's a proven fact. If you concentrate on your business instead of your business running you, you will be more successful. It's that simple.
If you're unwilling to do that, sell the business, because you're not serving the people that are trusting you with their livelihood. And I couldn't be more serious about what I'm saying right now. If you are unwilling to believe that you can work less and make more, and if you even book out time and then you take that last minute $100 ticket instead, then you are not leading your business into its future. You are living in the now, and you are focused on what you can get now. And as a leader, you need to minimally be 1 year ahead of where your business is at. The minute you got those keys and opened those doors, it wasn't about you anymore. It was about every person trusting you with their livelihood. And that, as an owner, that's what you own. That's what you own, a business which needs your attention and the people in it that make it work. So you must invest time there first and behind the chair second. And it needs to be thought that way. Even if right now it's the other way around in your time, when you change here how you're relating to it, then you can slowly over time flip it back around. When I first started coaching Sue, and she'll probably attest and say, yes, that's the case, she was working many more days behind the chair. And we removed those for her over time, so that she can get more time to run her business. She was buying a 2-story bank and gutting it into a spa and salon. Spa on the top, salon on the bottom. A massive undertaking. And I'm not even going to tell you how much money her and her husband were investing in that endeavor. Now, I'll never forget some of our first conversations and me as a coach realizing how much was being put on the line in their future livelihood and what was at stake and the work that we had to do. And some of the first things we started doing was rearranging her time and ensuring that her and her sister, who was her main manager at the time, had to focus on what they were doing and developing more systems so we can promote other people, so that we can have a body of leaders in a business, so the infrastructure was created before the volume came. And a lot of us do it the other way around. We grow our asses off with no infrastructure. So if you're going back and allowing the surge to dictate where you spend your time, you're managing, not leading. And I'm going to be as straight as I can be to all of you on here as a coach, to owners out there. Consider we're on a coaching call right now, and I'm going to be blunt and direct to all of you, because if you don't hear it like this, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, because your habits that you're creating now that you're back at work are going to be really hard to change if you don't focus on it now, when you're 7 weeks back versus 17 weeks back versus 30 weeks back. Very, very critical, everyone. Give your business the attention that it needs. I think another thing, I think one of the calls that I was on, I believe I gave my reflection form as a resource. And if I didn't, then I'll email it out to you, Eric, so you can put it up in the resources section, wherever that is. But the reflection form is something I created. It's part of my book, Interdependent Leadership. And this reflection form is something that I believe you should be having people fill out, and you should be having these conversations based on your team size a couple times a week. And here's how the reflection form goes. You're asking 4 basic questions of people that are important questions to ask. What do you love about working here, and why? How can we improve as a business? What are your ideas and solutions? So it's not just a bitch fest. What are 3 things you think that we're doing well? I'm sorry, let me start over. What are 3 things you think what are 3 things you love about being here? What's one way we can improve, and what's your idea? What are 3 things you're doing well? And what's one way that you intend on improving? Those 4 basic questions on this reflection form. You give that, if I'm the owner and I'm coaching Andrew, I'm giving that to him 48 hours before meeting with him. And I'm going to carve out a half hour of time, and I'm going to sit down and check in with him. And I believe that all of you that have been open for a while, you need to start scheduling these conversations so that your team have a chance to get you one-on-one, and they have a chance to blow steam and be heard, and to create and share value and to feel valued. I want you to think of the psychology of how those questions are put in sequence and what they open up. So the first thing I'm having Andrew answer is, what are 3 things he likes about working here? So by starting there, I'm getting him to write down and articulate what he loves about being here. So now his mind is focused in a positive way, kind of like Franco asking all of his clients, what was one thing that was positive that happened to you during the shutdown? Getting the mind focused on something positive. So what are 3 things you like about working here, Andrew? So he answers it. What's one way we can improve, and what's your idea and solution? So now he's being respected that his opinion matters and that we need to know what his ideas are. So now he's being challenged at the same time to come up with ideas. Then what are 3 things you think you're doing well? What do you feel you're doing well? So then by Andrew sharing, he feels that he's doing excellent with rebooking and retail and consultation. This is where it's powerful for you as an owner. Because let's say coming into the conversation, I wanted to talk with Andrew that I think he needs to get better at retail. Well, if I would have just started the conversation there, he would have closed up. He would have been like, you know, fight or flight, because he was coming in thinking he's doing just great at retail. So by giving him a chance to write down what he feels he's doing well, I get to get into his thinking, into his world, to understand his perspective and where he's coming from. So now I could dance with his perception and guide him to not only be validated, but to see what I see too. So in that conversation, I would say then, great. So you feel that retail is an area that you're doing well. Tell me how. Tell me what's going on. And then Andrew shares, well, you know, I'm bringing the products up at the end of the service and I'm handing it off well to the front desk. And then I, the owner, say, yep, I've been seeing you do that. Awesome. What else? Well, I've been studying my product knowledge. And I've been using things, been trying to do one new product a week, and it's making me feel more confident. Awesome, Andrew. I love hearing that. Would you like some ideas from me as to how I think you can keep getting better? So see, now, because I heard him, now I can then share after he was heard and gotten by me. Now I can share some of my opinions, and it's going to land over there now. He's going to want to hear what I have to say because A, he wrote down where he's at. I listened and validated it, repeated it back, and now I can go in and share my perception. So this is leading versus managing. So the reflection form allows you to start with a positive. What are 3 things you like about being here? How can we get better? Your opinion matters. You count. So he's feeling listened to and more confident and that he matters. And then I'm listening to how he's doing, where he thinks he's doing well, and offering more guidance. And then what's one way you want to improve in the next 30 days? So then he has to share what he wants to do, and I can add ideas onto that. So Derek, I'll make sure I get that over to you. Check that out, you guys. Those of you that are on here, I see a lot of familiar names that you've purchased Interdependent Leadership. Go back into the opening chapters on how to coach and guide people to be involved, because that's when I get into some of the stuff I'm talking about today, and pull up those reflection forms from that book and put them to use, you guys.
Steve?
Do not forsake this time. Do not forsake this time, because do not have the excuse, well, we only have a certain amount of guests that we can see. I'm having a real hard time scheduling one-on-one meetings. That's unacceptable. Your team needs you now more than ever, and you have to think that way, and you must carve out the time and give it to them. Do not let the busyness get in your way of spending time listening and giving people your attention. Yes, Andrew, sorry.
Yeah, I want to say to everyone, by the way, the reflection form, brilliant. And I want to say that that is truly $1 million idea.
Thank
because
you.
over, and I think you can quantify that. And I believe if you have a solid business, or you're building a solid business and you intend to be in business for X amount of years, being that way, doing that thing will drop $1 million over time into your bottom line.
No doubt about it. There's no doubt about
That
it.
is hear me, everyone, do that. Do that. Make your meetings like that. That's how our business and every business works.
You know, you
Andrew,
can. Sorry, go ahead, Derek.
No, it's totally okay, because this is on subject to you and Andrew, and we've had this conversation. Well, a couple things. Number one, you will see us all working together quite frequently now. Andrew, be used to it. As usual, I'm giving you that last minute notice. Number two is, are you working on your business or in your business? That's the question. So in the group, I want to see how many of you post up right now. Are you caught up in this, and are you working for your business right now? Post a number 1 to that. Or are you working on your business, and post a number 2 to that? Go ahead. Don't be shy. Nobody's judging, but I want to see where we are. See, so we got a lot of mixed comments coming in here. It's very, very important to be working on your business right now, whether you're behind the chair or not. That's the whole context of this. If you're not setting that time aside, you're missing the opportunity. You should be working on your business, not just in your business to pay the bills, right? It's so important.
Derek,
yeah,
I want to say to everyone here, I commend you for not only being here, but for, I guess, not 80% of the people are open. Just getting open is a tremendous feat, because there are many salon owners who intended to get open at the beginning, but didn't have the fortitude, the courage, whatever it took to get open. So you've made it. Now this is about really prospering, and change is tough. Habits are tough. You want to form the right habits now. There's, again, a unique opportunity to do so, step by step. It's just because we say it doesn't mean it happens, but you have to take the first step. And with that, you'll see things moving much more positively, much more productively. And life will be, you will run an incredible place. It just takes
Andrew.
I'm glad to see some twos.
Go ahead, Steve.
Sorry about that. I know we're all fired up in this dialogue. I'm glad to see a lot of twos there. I'm especially Patty Mead, Sue Burkholder, and Gail Fulbright, who have all coached. I'm glad to see twos out of the three of you, where this coach is going to be making a phone call, that's for sure. But anyways, I'm glad to see those twos showing up there. For those of you that had ones, and for those of you that had ones and twos, and I see some people are just joining the conversation, we're talking about, are you letting your business run you since you reopened, or are you in control of it? Are you letting the busyness get in your way? And Derek quantified it by, if you're letting the business get in the way and it's running you, you're a one, answer one. If you're running your business, it's a two. So we're seeing lots of twos, but we're seeing some ones, and seeing a few of you ones and twos. So that sounds situational. Sometimes based on the situation, it's a one, and then other times it's a two probably. Here's what I would recommend that you do. If you're a one, or situationally you have ones showing up in your world, the first thing is, don't beat yourself up for it. Exactly. Because we make ourselves wrong for it, because, and I'm going to get even more deep here. We expect perfection out of ourselves because every guest we serve, that haircut, that color, those nails, that massage, that facial, it's got to be perfect. We can't mess it up. I mess up the facial and I don't mix correctly, somebody has a breakout on their skin, right? I don't mix the right colors, somebody has challenges and their hair falls out. We're taught subconsciously that everything has to be perfect. So then we equate that thinking to business management and leadership, and that is putting your own jail sentence on top of yourself. You muffle and stifle yourself by thinking that everything has to be right and perfect all the time. So first of all, if you gave yourself a one, or sometimes a one, that's not a bad thing. Accept it, look at it, engage it, and say, okay, what's missing that if I added something would take me from a 1 to a 1.5? Don't even try to go for a 2. Just try to make a little move. What could I do? Is it my thinking? Is it a system? Is it time management? What is it? What lesson can I learn? Always look for the lessons. Take your own ego out of it and expecting yourself to be perfect. It doesn't have to be that way. Be okay with a 1. Be willing to dig and engage. Derek, sorry, but I wanted to share that.
No, totally okay. Because if I want to share this with you, it's okay to not be perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? But what I think the point we're getting through to you as coaches, I coach, I don't know, I guess I have about 50 salons right now I'm coaching. And it's okay to not be perfect all the time. But one of the things I always say when I'm coaching is, don't let yourself as an owner get in the way of your business. Your business comes first. What does that mean? It means that some owners can actually be in the way of their own business. It's a simple thing. And what I mean by that is you're not doing the things that we're talking about right now. And it's okay not to do them all at once, but work towards that goal of you not working for your business, and you're working to control your business.
Correct.
And maybe words are not right, but what I want you to do is manage your business and take time to do that. And it's okay if you're wrapped up in today. We all get caught up in those bubbles, but make sure that you schedule some time for your mind and your business. They're both equally as important. They're probably more important than that if you're behind the chair, like you said earlier, Steve, that I'm cutting hair, I'm coloring hair. Oh my God, I'm hustling clients, I'm booking, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And the world is like this, right? It's all over the place. And we want to run around with our hands up in the air and go, woo, 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 right? Like a crazy person. And then go in the back room and do a shot of Jack Daniels or something, whatever, right? But you know, that's kind of, yeah, you know, I'm joking about that, but I'm not, because that's how crazy the business can be.
Exactly. Exactly.
Focus on yourself and the business separate than the clients, and don't let yourself go. If a client's down here and here is the normal level, right? Don't let yourself go down in that well. Put them here and then pick it up to here until your mind is in a better place so you can manage your business properly.
Love that. And, you know, I saw Gail Fulbright, I saw you respond that you're going to get those one-on-ones back in play. And I'm really happy to see that, Gail. I think that's absolutely vital. Those are the most important appointments you can have all week long, those one-on-one meetings with each team member. With that being said, I also want to share some interesting things that I've been seeing from a numbers point of view. So as a lot of you know that have seen me on here before, I'm a numbers nerd. I wrote a book called Financial Fitness. I geek out, nerd out on this stuff. I got 23 spreadsheets that are industry specific in that book. And here's what I'm going to tell you guys. Data is everything for you because it cuts through the emotional and perceptual cloth and allows you to see exactly how you're engaged and how you're performing. You know, Patty just texted me about 10 minutes ago, sharing what her average ticket was for her opening. And Patty, I love seeing that number. Not only do I love it, but it's exactly what I'm seeing across the board for almost every business that I coach. That we're seeing triple-digit average tickets as we reopen because of the amount of color that we're doing. Now, here's the thing, everybody. Do not let that average ticket and what we think is, you know, we're going to be doing so much more color retouch at the beginning that even though we're doing less customers because of the physical distancing guidelines, we're going to be doing pretty much the same volume we were before the shutdown. Do not let that create a false sense of security. Because once you get through your surge, which I'm seeing in all the businesses that I'm coaching, which is about 5 to 6 weeks, once you get through that surge and the volume starts coming down to earth, that average ticket's going to come down with it because you're going to have gotten through a lot of that color touch up. So it's critical that you engage literally how many clients were we seeing versus how many we are now. I was on a call with a client in Augusta, Georgia last week, and we were literally looking across the board that every single service provider was seeing a third of their guests, normal guest visits. And we isolated 5 weeks before the shutdown and the 5 weeks that she's been open since. That's what we did. I took all of her numbers and we worked on them together and we isolated 5 weeks pre-COVID shutdown, 5 weeks after. And what we were seeing, like, for example, one of her staff members had saw 60 less guests than that 5 week volume. Think about that. 12 guests a week less than normal. So now, her first thing was, well, some of those people still don't want to come in yet. I said, great, that's 60 people. I'll give you 15 to 20% on that. But the other 40, if they're waiting, how many of them have already gone somewhere else? So even though physical distancing guidelines are there and we can only see a certain amount of people, for the team to get a false sense of security that everything's back to normal, albeit health and sanitation guidelines, cannot be more false. It's not true. There's still guests that we need to see. And not only that, she was struggling with getting some of her team to pick up extra shifts. Some of you may be experiencing that. Some of you might not, but I'm going to speak to it because I've had 25% of the salons that I coach dealing with team members who are thinking everything is going to go back to normal, don't want to stretch any harder than they already are, don't want to work on that Sunday, don't want to pick up a shift on a Monday, I don't want to work nights. That's what I say to that. And why do I say it like that? Because look, everyone, at the end of the day, if people aren't willing to get uncomfortable and stretch now, are they really right for your culture? Is what you have to ask yourself. And you have to ask them. If you are unwilling to pick up extra shifts to take care of people who can't get in, then where are you mentally located? Are you willing to stretch? So I would say it's critical that we all keep a keen eye on how our team is engaging coming back. And if some of your team is struggling or their thinking is not in the right place, you don't have to go be an ass about it. That's not accountability. Accountability is, again, empathizing and engaging where Derek might be thinking so that I can understand why he's thinking that way. And then I can enlighten him to, here's a whole nother way to look at it. And oh, by the way, here's how you're going to have to figure out how to look at it because this isn't about you. We haven't been able to get in all of our guests, and you stand to potentially lose 30 guests, 5 to 6 a week. Once we get through the surge, you're going to be standing with your hands on your hips, looking at me, the owner, saying, I'm not busy enough. I'm not making enough money. What are you doing for me? When, in fact, you could have been working more aggressively and you could have been making sure you were seeing as many people as you could and getting uncomfortable and picking up extra shifts if that's what it took to make sure that you are fighting for your percentage of your landscape and your community. Because let me tell you something, everybody, you have to relate to it that way. Feel my energy right now. I am urgent in how I am talking to all of you because I am seeing this with multiple businesses. I'm not just seeing this with one or two and basing an assumption. I am looking at data and I'm seeing across the board that because of physical distancing, we simply can't get everybody in. And if we're not picking up extra shifts to try and bridge some of that gap, we are going to lose market share because people don't want to wait anymore now that we're open. And they're going to go somewhere else. And they might go to a place that they've never been to and actually love it. And now they're not coming back. And when the numbers come back down to earth, if you're losing a percentage of that business that you could have gotten in, oh boy, that's a huge hit, especially in uncertain financial times in the middle of a recession to boot. So please be aggressive in how you're coaching and guiding and really urge everybody, look at those numbers and see what we're not being able to get in. It's mission critical. Imagine 60 people have not been able to get in over the last 5 weeks. And a good percentage of them are looking elsewhere. And that stylist unwilling to work extra shifts, who, by the way, that stylist is no longer part of that team either. That's how intense those conversations were. So if you got to get everybody in the right mindset and you have to draw a line in the sand and you have to lead very powerfully. Gentlemen, what do you got to add? I can see you chomping at the bit there, Derek.
Yeah. No, because I want to share something with you because I think it's important. That is a
I love you. No, I love it. I love it. I love the energy, man. I'm like, come on.
I think that's such a brilliant conversation because on the other turn, what about the owners who are doing the exact opposite, who are doing what we talked, Andrew and I talked about this, I think last year in a session. We went down to, Andrew, you can speak to what the show was, but somebody from a credit card company says, we have to open when people want to play because that's the new generation, right? So if you're being strict in your hours and you're limiting people, they're going to go somewhere else. Now during COVID, it is the most important time to open those schedules, dual shifting, going long days. all those things to bring in those people who, like you said, that 30% or whatever, who are going to leave another salon because they're so limited in their mindset. And guess what, guys? Our doors are open. Yay, hooray, because the cash register is ringing. Or I should say the touchless credit card system is ringing, right? But seriously,
Right.
exactly. That's how we have to think right now. And if we're not thinking with that mindset, we're limiting ourselves as a business. We're hurting our employees. We're hurting our family because our business comes before us, as I said earlier, right? And what is our business? It's clients. If we are not open for appointments when those clients want to get in, guess what? Those clients are going to somewhere else. There's 1,000 clients per 3 salons. That may change with this new COVID thing, right? We may consolidate. They're saying 30%. So let's say it's 1,000 clients per 2 salons. Let's be that salon that gets all the 1,000 clients, okay? Don't limit your ability here as owners. It's getting crazy. It really is getting crazy. And I just want to run around and go nuts. You know, when I hear owners like saying, I'm chopping off my legs in my business because of all these standards. Well, guess what? Even though all these rules are in place, there are ways to work legally, compliantly, and open ourselves up to all these new clients that are available. And believe me, folks, there are a lot available. I don't know about you, Steve, but I would say all of the salons that I coach, I'm hearing now that they're open, they're like, oh my God, I had 40 new clients booked. I had this, I had that. And I'm like, well, guess where those clients are coming from? They're coming from those owners who did not pay attention to their business and hamstrung themselves, right?
Amen to that.
I think, just right now, we have to maximize the number of available hours, period.
Absolutely.
And how we do that, and we have physical constraints on the number of chairs. Let's not have constraints in our thinking and our people's thinking about what they are willing to do. Now's the time. You know, this is just, we have to do it, and we have to teach. We have to, as Steve was saying, a leader teaches someone how to think. We have to take them through that and ask questions. They'll get it. They'll get it. And it's, Steve, tell me if your point was, right now, it's kind of looking cool. It's fine, you know, but 4 weeks in, we know it's not going to be cool at all. At all.
No, if we don't have a handle on it and we're not looking at the data and seeing, you know, how many people were we used to serving per technician prior to, and where are we at now, and what are the gaps? Who haven't we gotten in? What do we need to do? How can we get creative? And to be met with resistance from anyone must be a no pass at this stage. That as owners, you are literally fighting for the future and the survival of your business. And every customer is not even gold, it's platinum right now. And you must do everything you can to cultivate and take care of as many people as you can, as quickly as you can get to them. And if you have people on your team that are uncomfortable, that are not comfortable with stretching and going the extra mile, that tells you a lot about their character and where their decision making is. And you need to literally point that out. Not in a, like, it's not about being blunt and finger pointing. It's about, hold on here. Let me just get clear about where your thinking is, because here's the big picture. Here's what we're up against. Here's what's predictive of what's coming ahead. Yeah. So I can understand if you're thinking in the now. I'm here as your leader to help you think long term. So that way you make the right choice and the right decision. You know, Tracy wrote, she's having anxiety just listening to this, and, you know, and she's glad that she works for herself, you know, and, you know, that is enlightening, Tracy, because, you know, for all the owners that are on here that are coaching and guiding so many other people, you know, it's critical that we have that urgent mindset and that we draw those lines and that we get everybody on board. This isn't, you have to think of it like this. Here's another analogy that I'll do on behalf of Derek. We are in wartime, all right? This, war, like, it's like DEFCON 1. You have to relate to it that way. If we're just excited, woo, we're open again. Yeah, it feels great. But these are the opening weeks of a very long road ahead. So how you lead now, what you accept, what you don't accept, what you stand for is the most important thing that you can be focusing on as a leader right now. You must unequivocally stand for everyone to follow.
Doesn't wartime build the best teams?
The thing about being in a comfort zone, and we all, this group has been out of your comfort zone, and you've grown as people, you've grown as leaders by moving through that. Your team members want to, some, not all, will contract and move back to their comfort zone. Growth only occurs when you move through it to another level.
Yes.
There is no growth without being a little bit disturbed. Let's put it that way.
And
so we have to lead them.
My sign on my background. Everything we want is on the other side of fear. See my background?
Yeah, that's true. And we're going to have to lead them through it and let them know that it is okay. They will be bigger, brighter, and bolder when they move through it. And it's a little bit uncomfortable now, or maybe a lot of it uncomfortable. We have to assure them that the result is going to be well worth it.
Absolutely. Gail on Facebook wrote, it's like opening a new business right now. You better believe it is. It is. You are opening a new business because of the different things that you have to take on and how you need to think about leading it. And this is so much different than the 2008 crash. Anybody remember that? Anybody remember market share leaving back in those days? Anybody remember that?
How exciting. How exciting.
Falling? Yeah, it's definitely critical. I do have to make a quick comment. Most of my girls said they will work whenever I need them. That comment was from BBR to all panelists. Is that James sneaking in here?
Good question. I have no idea.
Is he BBR? Is that James Alveda? I just got to make that, I'm just, maybe it is. But anyways, James, if you're there live, you should join us. If you're not, you're listening to this, it just wasn't the same without you, dude. I die all the way, homie. Anyway, yeah, we don't know if that's James, but we're all calling on him. So we wanted to talk about looking at the numbers.
It's James.
It is James. Hi, James. All right, so send him the link so he can jump on, Gomez is calling him out. Get on here, brother. I don't care how tired you look. I'm older than you. I look tired just by that alone. Anyways, I'm just giving you shit, man. Here he comes. I love it.
Oh boy.
I love it. Awesome. Can't wait to have him jump on, man. I love this guy. Anyways, yeah. I love it. See, James, we miss you. Where's Waldo? Look at all these comments, James. Exactly. You are a folk hero. You are a legend, an icon. And we still can't see you. It just says BBR. That's not acceptable. You're supposed to be the tech guy.
He's probably in the salon working, listening from his son.
I love it. That's great. So listen, everybody, I want to give you some ideas as well here. You need to not only track your client volume variance and wait a few weeks. 1 week does not a business make, right? Like, give it a few weeks, get some data so you can see, am I seeing the same trend over a period of time? And again, go backwards and compare it so you can watch it. On my website, a lot of you that have heard me before know that I launched Operation Clean Slate. And I did this about a month and a half ago. And I have over 21 free templates on the website for you to pull. One of them is called the recovery menu, and I'm specifically mentioning it because it is critical to this conversation. Go on and grab that template and edit it into the languaging of whatever your treatments are and into the languaging of whatever products you are offering. But that recovery menu was designed for you to print and either laminate so you can disinfect it after every touch, or print enough of them so that you can just hand out as single use. Either way, the recovery menu is designed to be an educational resource for all of you, to educate the customer and to remind and reinforce for the team the importance of add-ons and retailing. So how it works is, once you edit the recovery menu, when Derek walks in for his appointment, Andrew is greeting up at the front desk and he hands the recovery menu copy to Derek. And Andrew simply says, Derek, I know you're here for your cut and your balayage, because we all know Derek is in need of a balayage. We know that you're here for your cut and your balayage, Derek, but the color and the cut is just one piece. Taking care of the health of your hair and restoring it is critical, especially for the amount of time you have not been in the business. So please check out this menu, because it discusses treatments that are important to restore the health of your hair and products that are going to support you to maintain it when you go home. So now there goes Derek marching happily over to sit in the station and meet with me. Now I'm focused on all these things, but here comes Derek holding that menu. What is that menu for me? A reminder. Oh yeah, consultation, add-ons that are relevant, talking to Derek about the health of his hair along with the way it looks, because the health leads to the way it looks anyways. Education, education, education. That's why I created that menu. It's there for everyone for free. It's on my website, www.stephengomez.net, STEPHENGOMEZ as in zebra.net, stephengomez.net, Operation Clean Slate. Pull the recovery menu and anything else you find on there. Have an add-on contest. Get that going with the team. Have a contest for retail to service percentage. Or if you track PPC, a PPC contest in the first opening weeks, so that you're doing some fun things to engage the team, to be educating the guests and to make relevant recommendations. One of the things I've seen across the board, I've seen 70% of salons struggle with retail out the gates, 30% do well with it. A lot of the ones that are struggling out of the gates is because they're just overwhelmed by all the new guidelines and getting that whole thing down, that the retail was kind of falling off to the wayside. That's why the recovery menu is designed to help you in that. So please go grab it, everyone. I now want to pivot and move to a list that I'm going to give you that I feel is a very important one, chock full of ideas. And I want you guys to write down other ideas, like post here, answer on these threads in Zoom and on Facebook, any other ideas to add on to what I'm about to share with you. Because one of the things I've been seeing coaching salons that are already open is that they are, if they were burning the candles at both ends before COVID, they are burning the candle at both ends, burning it all the way down to the wick, and then, you know, lighting that wick on fire and trying to dance around with that thing. I mean, it's just crazy, the schedules that owners are keeping nowadays and that staffs are keeping nowadays. Yes, Laura, and then some. So having balance is critical. Being able to see the amount of effort physically, spiritually, and mentally that we're all having to put in right now to run our businesses, it is taxing on everyone. I've been talking to a lot of exhausted salon leaders out there. So here's some ways that we can redirect and be responsible for all the energy that we're taking in. Ordering lunch once a week if you're an owner for your team. Having a potluck with the team where everybody's bringing in something for everybody to share. Those things are always fun. They're easy to do. I was on a live before this with my friend Leah Freeman. She's the global color director with Lanza, and we were talking to everybody with Lanza earlier today. And Leah literally bought popsicles from the grocery store and brought them in. And she said the team reacted like they were getting gold. Like they were just so pumped up about getting freaking popsicles, you guys. Little things go a long way. It doesn't have to be expensive, but little things just to brighten up and get an energy shift and get people to relax. If you have outdoor access, use it for breaks and lunches for the team. For example, Gail Fulbright, her and David that own and operate Headlines in Encinitas, California. I coached Gail and David for a year and a half, been down on site many a time. And they have a back parking lot area and they have tables out there. Those, that's a great example. If you have outdoor access, even inviting people to take a break and walk and go take a lap around the whole strip plaza, just to get out and get fresh air and get out of the grind. It's mission critical. This coach does that in between coaching calls. When my schedule permits, I get out and I walk outside, or I'll sit out on my porch right outside my office and get some fresh air to redirect the energy. Celebrate 2 to 3 team members a week. Favorite snacks, favorite drinks, a handwritten card, appreciating them is a great thing to do. Not this year, but last year, Patty brought me out and we did a team retreat and we utilized this technique, and Patty got real clear about what everybody's favorite snacks and drinks and everything were. And each person had a bag when they came into that retreat with their name on it, all decorated, with stickers all over it, with a card, a handwritten note. Little things like that go a long way. If you have room and you can create a quiet room, Patty, for example, your office, the way you remodeled it, phenomenal. Your office is beautiful. It's great to be in. Use that as a quiet space for your team, Patty. If any of you have those, or have a place in your business that's quieter, maybe you have a room that's not being used, go back and retrofit it, remodel it a little bit if you can, to create a safe space for people to go and give them 15 minutes a day where they can, without their phones, to be buried on social media, just go and close their eyes, take some deep breaths, and just let the energy out so they can be centered and ready for the second half of their day. That's working smart. If you have massage therapy in your business, then you probably have a seated massage chair. If you don't, salon owners, hire a massage therapist to come in to bring their seated massage, and in the back room, 15-minute upper back and neck and shoulder massages, if it's legal in your state right now to do that. They've got to be mindful there, because some states it's still not mandated yet. But doing that for your team to work the shoulders out. A team picnic, 1 month in, pick a Sunday or a Monday and get everybody together so you can social distance and everybody brings something. And you guys get outside in the outdoors and decompress, or go on a hike together. Bring in a yoga instructor, or go to a class, rent out a yoga studio where the whole business goes and takes sessions, or meditation and breath work. Those type of things are going to make a big and massive impact on being responsible for all the energy that we're taking in and doing things to work that energy out. Purchasing journals for each team member, another great idea. Inviting people to write about their experiences, because some people are writers. One of the things that I'm recommending is that for each shift, you create what you call care partners. So if there's 10 people on a shift, you partner people up. If there's an odd number, then there's a group of 3. But a care partner is, if Andrew and I are working today's shift and we're together for 6 hours, if shit hits the fan for me, Andrew's my person that I'm going to go to. That way I'm not trying to hunt down multiple people, or I'm throwing up all over everybody in the back room. I'm being responsible, and I'm going to one person who's going to get me and be there for me, and vice versa. That's being smart to work the energy and not bringing it to the rest of the business and just dumping it on the floor for everybody to smell and walk around. Purchasing gift cards for your team. Just it's just another way to say thank you for the efforts. And then I got 3 more ideas, and then I'm going to look at and see if anybody else have Any other ideas? Melissa, I'm glad to see you already have a picnic planned. That rocks. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you might already do Employee of the Month or Above and Beyond Awards, but I certainly recommend doing that. Speaking of Above and Beyond, I believe we just saw James, the ceiling
The Phantom.
of James's house for a split second. I don't know what's going on over there. Patty's doing tailgate parties. Excellent, Patty. Love that. But doing an Above and Beyond award that's meritorious, where everybody gets to write out some person that they choose who in that month or every 2 weeks, do it every 2 weeks right now is what I recommend. But, somebody that has gone above and beyond in their book, The Call of Duty, either through their energy, their attitude, or staying late and doing different things. And everybody gets to write down who they pick, and it goes into a box, and then it gets tabulated, and the person that has the most votes win. That's a great thing to do. I can say this, working for a company where I was voted for 5 Above and Beyond awards over an 8-year stretch and 3 Employee of the Month awards, I always valued those awards, highly valued that my peers that I work with chose me for something that I did. I greatly appreciated that. A couple other things. Nutritional class, critical. Ensuring that you're purchasing healthy snacks for people to have in the back room. That is a small financial investment that's going to go a long way, and that you're preaching it. And hydrate, give me a minute. Hydrate. My friend Leah was talking about breaking out from wearing the masks. She upped her water intake, breakout went away.
Mm-hmm.
So hydrating. And if you need to go, there's places online where you can go. You can put in your body weight. It'll tell you exactly how many ounces of water you should be drinking per day based on your body weight to make sure that you're getting enough hydration and strengthening your immune system for all the extra work and stress that we're taking on. Hope that's not vodka. Pilar, no, that's not vodka, because right now I've been drinking red wine, my friend. There you go. Now, with that being said, also getting a massage therapist to walk you and the team through the specific types of stretching exercises for the type of work that we do in our industry, from back bends to forearm and hand stretches, those types of things that are going to allow you to take care of your body physically for all the extra grind and work that you're doing is very critical. So those are my list of ideas. I hope you have found value. I'm watching on Facebook, and I love the hearts and likes. So give me some loves and likes, you guys.
Give them a lot. Give them a lot of
I've
love.
been working my ass off all day today.
Give them a lot of love.
Those of you that are, come on, I want to see some hearts, damn it.
Here's a save your sanity technique.
Thank you. What I've learned is if I don't see them, I'm asking for them. I don't care.
Why not? Ask. They love you. For those of us who wish to save our sanity, okay? Especially for folks who work behind the chair, okay? Book a 15-minute slot for yourself to do social media. 1, maybe at the most 2 a day, and do not touch social media other than that time. You will blossom, because social media is not, it's other people grabbing your attention, really. And I know we're planning our own social media, et cetera, but you guys all know what I mean. We get sucked into the vortex, and it costs us a fortune in time, energy, psychic energy, and literal energy. Stay away from it. 15 minutes, at the most 2 15-minute blocks. Save your sanity.
Unless
I
it's
love
watching
that.
BBR.
I didn't say this is different.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
No, but literally, you want to say you're not missing much.
So I'm just writing down, Laura shared something that's really great. There's an app called Simple Habit for meditation. Thank you for that recommendation, Laura. Laura, my apology. And that's what we're looking for. What are some other recommendations out there that you guys have? What are some other ideas or things that you're doing to keep it fresh and to keep that energy grounded? I know, for example, my friend Mary Wilson, who I haven't talked to in a while, but I know Mary does, she's always putting out on social media that she's doing yoga classes. And I think obviously she's doing them online nowadays. So if Mary were here right now, she'd probably speak to that. But I know that she does that. But what are some other ideas? Oh, there's Mary.
Mary's
Here
on
you are.
there.
Okay, Mary. Yeah, Mary, you do yoga classes, right? And I can't remember when they are, Mary, but
every Friday morning, I think it is.
Perfect. So please check that out.
Take that time for you, right, Steve? When owners get off, whenever I don't, so I remember this from when we were in the salon every night. We'd get home, we'd be the annoying ones getting in the restaurant at 9 o'clock at night, right before they were closing up, ordering dinner, and then we would talk business, right? And my wife and I would go home, and it'd be like, okay, we had that whole day of business, we went to bed, and we had no non-business time. Make that time for yourself right now. It's critical. If it's not, we all have smartphones, we all have everything. If you're one of those people who live by the calendar, which is most of us right now, book that time off. Don't think about business. Spend it with your family, because after this 3 months, and then we're getting back into this, book out that time that it's still that 3-month period where your mind can be with your family, with yourself, and get yourself straight, right?
Correct.
It's so important. I can't stress it enough, because I am a victim of it myself by not setting boundaries. And through this, I have learned and been taught by the other coaches in here that, hey, Derek, knock it off. Set boundaries, and at least give yourself, especially you, Steve, yelling at me saying, hey, dude, you can't work 7 days a week.
That's right.
You got to have 2 seconds to breathe. So it's important, and it's so important for you owners to just give yourself that permission for that time.
But book it.
But yeah, be responsible for it. Manage your schedule so that, look, would you not, if you scheduled a haircut appointment with a client, would you blow that off? No, of course you're going to show up to that. Relate to your own health, balance, and well-being in the same way. Mary just put out every Friday at 6:30 in the morning PST. That's 9:30 East Coast. She's teaching. She's doing yoga. So if you don't feel comfortable finding a yoga studio or going back live, or your yoga studio is not open, then make that part of your schedule, okay? Because balancing yourself and taking care of your well-being, everybody, is, again, just as important, if not more important, than that $100 client you can take in that time. Not last week, but the week before, I went out to my mom's, and I was out there for 6 nights, and I had one coaching call the whole time, and I checked email twice, and that was it. And I told all my clients where I was going to be and what I was doing, because I wanted to go see my mom. My mom's 77. My mom is a severe asthmatic, and this crisis made it feel even more urgent for me to spend time with my mom. I always feel urgent about that, but even more with this thing going on, how fleeting life is. Nancy and I got tested. My wife, we got tested, and we sequestered ourselves and we waited. We came back negative, and then we drove straight out to my mom's and we spent time with her. This Saturday, we're taking off. We're driving up the California coast. We're going up to San Luis Obispo and Paso Robles. We're doing wine tasting, and we're on to Big Sur to hike in the redwoods, and we're shutting it down so my wife and I can have our own time. because during this crisis, like you two, I've been working around the clock. I've been working 6-7 days a week. It's been nonstop. I've had to have 17 conversations with salons that have reached out that have had to close their doors. Think about that. The number I've had to, those conversations have been real rough, amongst having having conversations with clients and doing all these webinars, doing all these things. So, I'm taking care of me. Each of you should be scheduling time now in the next 90 days to take 2 or 3 days to shut it all down and get away, and to leave other people in charge, and then not to answer the phone, so that you can give yourself balance, because the first 90-day run being reopened is a marathon. It's a grind of a run, especially the first 6 weeks, 7 weeks of all the additional business and time and focus and reacclimating that you're going through. So be sure that you give yourself time. One of the things I do as a coach is we schedule your vacations, and anybody that knows that I've ever coached, and this is the coaching I give, is that if I find out that you're calling in on your vacation time, your shit is in my hot seat. Patty's had to go through that a couple of times. Sue Burkholder early on, same thing. But at the end of the day, taking that time away is mission critical. You have to recharge you, because you lead a business. You're a leader in your community, and everybody is going to be putting energy towards you and wanting a piece of you, my salon owners. So if you have to schedule that time on a weekly basis to take care of you, and you have to schedule the getaways to shut it down and recharge and refuel and just be in another environment and another way of relating to life. Absolutely critical.
And Steve,
I have to share.
Steve,
I have to share this. Hold on, Andrew. I got to share this with everybody, because Mary's on Facebook, and she said we're going camping. So for the next 3 days. So I just want to laugh. Mary, I thought you were camping every day between the skunks and the bobcats.
But what I can say is, Stephen.
Philip is not a skunk or a bobcat. Stop it.
Steve walks the talk, because I know I sent him an email, and a number of days later, he emails me back and he says, I was at my mom's. Sorry about that I didn't reply earlier. So what he is saying is the truth.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you sharing that,
And what Derek was saying before, think about this, sitting with your family, getting excited about something. This Saturday night, if plan now to sit and have a meal with your family and talk about booking your next vacation.
Amen to that.
3 days. Do that. Book that appointment with your significant other, your kids. Sit down, get energized around it, and book it. If it's 2 days, 3 days, doesn't matter. Do it.
Mary, you are absolutely right. We do miss the life on the road. I drove to Phoenix. Now I'm driving up the coast. Us road warriors. We'll figure out any way to get on the road. But to echo what you're saying, Andrew, we only live once. 120,000 people have died from this virus. That's more than we lost in World War I. And think about that staggering death toll that we've always been so humbled by. We've lost and that was over 5 years, that war. This is 120,000 Americans dead in 3 months. Let that hit. We have to take care of ourselves.
Take care of ourselves.
We have to take care of ourselves. We have to spend time with the people that we love. We have to.
Let's
Life's
all
too fleeting.
end this on a positive note. For all of you owners that are in this, you're in it to win, period,
Yes.
right? We couldn't say it any better. And if you need any support, all three of us and the rest of the BBR community are here to support you without cost, because we're dedicating ourselves to you. That is our higher cause. And I know that the coaches on here, that's their higher cause. If you can support any of the coaches that have been on here, that's fantastic. If you can't, that's fantastic also. But we're here to help you and support yourselves, your business, your employees, and your community, and we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll share my final thoughts for tonight by saying, you know, we're only as good as the practices that we follow and that we adopt. And, you know, those of you that have been tuning into BBR, all 53, you know, it's, if you're not adopting these things now, then are you just an education junkie? And we don't want you to just be education junkies that are just sucking up all these things and feed off the great energy you get out of coming to a class. I've always said this in every live class that I've ever taught. How many of you are inspired? Raise your hand. Everybody raise their hand. Great. That's going to wear off in the bathroom line once you walk out of this training room. I've always said that. And, you know, it's not about feeling motivated. It's about what you do with what you got out of today. That's where transformation lies. So we invite you to transform how you think, therefore how you act, therefore get different results, so that you're wiser for it. You're wiser for these sessions. You're wiser for having this community to guide you, and you're more mindful. So please take action. We're urging you to do it, but we can't control that choice. It's not up to us. It's up to you. Act on what you're getting out of this. And, you know, if any of you need to get a hold of me, again, my website, stephengomez.net. That's STEPHEN, and Gomez with an EZ at the end. You can follow me on Facebook, Stephen J. Gomez. Instagram, it's Salon Coach SJG. Those are my initials. I'm here to support. Go grab all those free resources off Operation Clean Slate. If this is the first time you've met me and you need some great resources, there's 23 different templates and spreadsheets there for you. I'm certainly here to help. Thanks for being a yes, you guys, for reaching. When I reached out, I felt this was an important conversation to have. And I hope all of you that listened in and participated today found value in it. I'm certainly here to help you and here to support. Only the best. And on behalf of my friend Mary, namaste.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Can't thank you enough. Look forward to working together in the future. Obviously, so there's going to be some big news coming up with BBR. We're going to be doing some exciting things coming up that are different than what we've been doing, just to bring you more value, more information, and a tighter community. So stay tuned, and we will see you guys all soon on the BBR.
Love that. And for all of you that just wrote in there that you're going on different places and taking vacations, right on for all of you. Andrew.
There you go. And but be sure when, you know, post photos on the BBR when you go. We want to see where you've gone.
Yes.
I want to.
And lives. I want to see the videos, Andrew. We're in the new age. I want to see videos. Keep them clean, though.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
And hey, Derek, I had 5 pars on my round. I had some beautiful chips over the weekend. And Derek, this is just me sharing, so you can get out there and play that round of golf again, my brother. Get that birdie chip on, man. Get out there and get in nature, my man.
Thanks, brother.
Okay,
I
everyone.
love you all. Thanks again, guys. Much love.
Peace out. Lots of love.
Cheers. Night.